Good evening. Happy Tuesday night. I hope everybody is having a great Tuesday. Wait a few minutes for people to jump on. I don't know how the weeks are all running together. Well, I do know how the weeks are all running together. Tuesday comes. I don't know what day it is. So it is Tuesday. Hopefully it's Tuesday night. Hello. How are you? As everyone's coming on, please don't forget to share for our Tuesday night discussion. And also, if you have not followed me on Facebook, please do that as well so that you get all of the notices when we are going live and coming through. But we will wait a few minutes. What time is it? I always look. Wait a few minutes before we get started. But for folks that are jumping on and who will catch the replay, for those who don't know me, I am Andrea Cooks. Hello. And I am a certified abundant life coach, and you are joining us on our weekly Heartbreak Chronicles series. And this is just our weekly series to start the discussion on what is going on in our lives, how we're getting through the various heartbreaks that we have. And my goal is during this time is to share a few of my stories to see if you can relate and to start discussion. But of course, if you have things that you would like to share, please do so as we're having our discussion. It is all welcomed. So, and looking forward to a good discussion this evening. So again, as you're coming on, please share as well. And we will get started here in a few minutes. Actually, in a minute or so. How is everybody surviving this quarantine and staying at home? I know every week it seems a little bit longer every time. As an introvert, I mean, I have been enjoying it, I must say. I really do. I mean, it's just a little bit of when I want to go somewhere, but overall, I am loving being in the house. I'm getting out, taking my walks to get fresh air. It's a little cold here in Ohio this week, so bundling up. We had, 70 degrees last week, and now we're in the 30s and the 40s. So a little bit nippier, and I think we have snow, or at least some flurries maybe on Friday. So spring is doing that Ohio thing where you don't know what season it is, but hopefully it will start to level out here soon so we can really enjoy the weather once we're out of quarantine, of course. But we will go ahead and get started. Again, I am Andrea, for folks who do not know me. And tonight, the topic of discussion that I wanted to have is to fight or not to fight. And one of the reasons I brought this up is I think we're in the middle of a difficult situation, or we're in the middle of heartbreak. I think we really struggle. Hey, Rana, how are you? We really struggle with, or I will say I really struggle with, and folks that I talk to similarly, with really how hard should we be fighting in some of these situations. So I'm going to give you two examples, or two short vignettes that I have from my two, I'll say, major relationships, which is my first and second husband / ex-husbands. And so for my first marriage, when we decided, or well, we is really a term, when we were getting a divorce, I made, I say, an intentional effort that I was trying to make this very peaceful. And I did not cause any ruckus. Didn't put up any fight on trying to save the marriage for a variety of reasons, where I was, again, getting down on some of the things that I was doing. So it was almost like I was, hi, Kim, thanks for joining. I was getting down on, I think, what I believe I did or didn't do in the marriage. So I thought, well, if it's over, that's what, people want. I'm just going to do it. And so in my opinion at the time, I said I was being intentional of not causing any chaos or drama. But in all reality, I didn't fight. I didn't attempt to try to do anything to save the marriage. I started doing the good old Andrea thing and organizing. Okay, let's call the attorney and figure out what we're going to do. And it was almost like a little bit of a business transaction. Pretty sad now to think about it while we're talking. But hey, Leslie. But really, that whole idea that I wasn't putting up a fight. And at this time, I can go back and analyze if that was right, wrong, or different. But again, bringing up that idea that when we're in these committed relationships and stuff is not going as planned, how much can or can't we do to help fix the problems or not? So a little bit of the first marriage. So we'll say first marriage, Andrea said, all right, if that's what you want to do, peace out. Let's make this let's make this as easy as possible. Hey, on the flip side, I think when I was going through my second marriage, it was almost like the total opposite. Since I will say, gave up or didn't put up a fight, the first go round, I was like, oh, this isn't going to happen again. And then it was almost like I was a pit bull. Trying to figure out what in the world I can do to save this marriage and fight. So it was almost like two ends of the spectrum. So on one end, I was just like, whatever. On the second end, I was like, I'm not giving up without a fight. Hey, Derek, thanks for joining. And I was fighting, in all reality, not getting anywhere. So that's why I'm posing this question, to try to figure out or get you guys to start the discussion on what is the right balance for fighting. And one of the things that was very enlightening to me, again, during the second go round, when I decided more or less that I was, putting my heels in the ground and not doing anything to support the divorce. So, for instance, in the first one, I was the one, I called the attorney. I got all the things in line so things would go smoothly. Second go round, I was like, if you want a divorce, you call the attorney. You do all the stuff. And I was very, I'd say, I put up a fight more of if the attorney wanted something to happen. If people who know me, like normally I am a people pleaser and I'll go in and do whatever you want me to do. I did not do this time. And I was very adamant about not doing what the attorneys wanted me to do. I waited to the last minute to sign all the paperwork. And in all reality, doing all that fighting, again, wasn't helping the situation and putting more stress and pain on myself. Hey, Shanae, hey, Una, thanks for joining, ladies. How are you? So we're just talking about the question of when you're in the middle of heartbreak, if you are when should you fight or not fight? And I think, again, it's this delicate balance of you're trying to, do what you can. Again, I think, when you're married, you make these commitments. You have this whole idea that you're trying to put forth 100%, of your effort. And I was explaining how the first time I let it go. I said, if that's what you want, we'll roll with that. And I will get everything situated. And I remember on that, during the first one, again, the organizer, I put all of our, belongings in the spreadsheet, was very amicable about, what you wanted, what I wanted. I will say, again, because I was trying to be, the person that wasn't, ruffling the feathers, there was things that I did want that I let go. And I always said to myself, why didn't I keep the snowblower? I mean, why shouldn't the female get the snowblower? Whole nother story. But again, just very lax in I will say rolling over on doing what my spouse or ex-spouse wanted to do. The second time around, I was explaining that because I think I was so lax the first go round that I didn't want to give up without a fight. And so I was fighting until the very end. And I remember thinking to myself when we had went to court that final time that I was saying that I am his wife until I am not his wife anymore. So I will do all the things a wife is supposed to do. If one of the things I remember during that time I was doing, again, trying to continue this fight, was he was finally going through and moving out into an apartment. And again, he had been talking about for a while, like, oh, I'm gonna move out, find a new place. And I thought to myself, really? You going somewhere? Again, kind of being oblivious to, I'm fighting, you're really not going anywhere, this marriage is gonna last forever. And then one day, and he would leave the pamphlets from the apartments, around the house and all, whatever, we'll put it up to the side. So then one day I had noticed out of the joint account, a check was made or deposit was made to an apartment complex. Like, this fool's actually going to move to an apartment. So again, kind of let it go. And then all of a sudden one day, he's starting to, pack a couple things up. And he was we had a bed in the guest bedroom. And, he was starting to take this stuff down. I said, he's about to move out the house. But again, because I'm fighting, y'all. I'm fighting. And so, at first, as he was doing all of this, I'm getting all pissed off, let's be honest. And thinking, how could he leave and do, going through that whole rigmarole. And, I was, rage was starting to come up and I was ready to go off. But again, at this time, I have a 3-year-old child at the home, so I have to keep my composure. And so I had to think about how I was going to react to that. And again, since I was doing all this major fighting, and not fighting physically, but fighting for the marriage, I thought, that's not going to work, Andrea, if you go in, basically showing out, screaming. That's not going to get anywhere in this particular situation. So instead, I decided that I was going to help him move. And hold on, Leslie put, I think you have to give it some effort to see if there's common ground and if both partners can come to understanding of what each other needs, but it takes two who want to fight for the marriage to succeed. If one person has already moved on mentally and isn't interested in fighting for it, then it will never work. Absolutely. And so this is where I was, Leslie, at the time, where I was doing all this fighting, but he was completely checked out. And so again, it ends up being, more pain for me because I'm fighting. And when you don't have anything coming from the other person, it really is a losing battle. So anyway, I decided again I wanted to be true to who I was as well. So I will say that. So in addition to fighting, one of the things that I did learn from the first marriage, since I did absolutely nothing, that I wanted to at least do what I felt was right in my heart and in my mind. So if I gave it my all, then at least that would make me quote unquote feel good. So anyway, he's in the middle. Hey, Renee, thanks for joining. He's in the middle of, got the power tools out. He's taking this bed down and, I'm letting him do it and acting like what he's doing isn't facing me. And I'm watching TV and, playing with my daughter while he's, packing up these small items. And so finally, he's starting to move the bed to the truck. And I could tell he's having a little bit of trouble. He's a strong man. So I go on and check and do you need some assistance? So I help him move the bed into the truck, do all this stuff. And then all of a sudden, again, I became the moving partner. And, at the time, again, it was just natural for me, to be honest, because again, I was fighting for the marriage. I was believing in the marriage, even though he had mentally checked out. But I'm fighting. And then this was actually one of those activities that I felt like at least we were doing something together. And so I just kind of went through and plowed away. So at this point, we get it all in there, but now we have to take the items to the apartment. And so you're like, Andrea, maybe that was too much. Maybe I didn't need to do that. So I'm following him, my car. He's got stuff in the truck. And we actually are taking this to his new place. Mind you, he is moving out of our place. I got my daughter in her car seat. And we're, moving stuff up, and he moved to the second floor, people. Come on. Anyway, that's a whole nother issue. So he moves to the second floor. We're bringing all this stuff upstairs. And, at the end, and I'm in this apartment. And, he's actually very excited. It's almost like when you get your first apartment again, you're about to start a new life. He's enjoying this. While I'm trying to be supportive. I'm trying to fight, and I'm trying to be helpful. So then I get in this apartment, and we're moving all this stuff. And then I realize, like, he's really having a physical location separate from me and his child. And it dawned on me, again, that this was real. Thanks, Renee. Yes. I think I was going too far today. Renee, but you're so sweet, because I would have never. But the fight is sometimes necessary to ultimately move forward. We have to let go of what is now for us. Absolutely. Absolutely. I think, again, that was my issue at the time, is I had to do the things that felt right to me. Even though at the moment, seeing it and going through it was painful. One of the things that I had learned from my first divorce, because I didn't fight and I didn't do those things, I wasn't being true, to be honest, to who I am. And then that caused me more pain later than it did the second go round. So one of the things I ended up doing, so Shanae, I was a tad bit petty, I'll say this. So I go and I help her move, and we go through this whole thing. But I will say, when I left, one of the things I ended up leaving in his apartment, which evidently, let's say, didn't work, was he had this, it was like a built-in bookcase. So then when I took our daughter out, and of course, I think at that time I probably was like, we're leaving, your family's leaving. Again, he did not care. He was starting his whole bachelor pad. And then I left a picture, like our wedding photo up here. Again, Andrea, what is your problem? So I leave this wedding photo, and for me, my reminder of, you can move on if you want to. I'm doing the things that I need to do. And hopefully to remind you of what you're leaving or what you're missing. So I left it there, and I think that was my way of saying, you can do what you want to do, but right there, that you're leaving a good lady. But when I left out of the apartment that day, it was actually, again, cathartic to say I was being true to myself, even though it hurt like hell to do it. And when I was driving away and realizing that, I was helping him leave his family. It was difficult, but I will say, again, after the storm, and, and a lot of people say, Andrea, you do too much. Andrea, you're too nice. And some instances I am. But my learning really from that, again, is that balance to fight or not to fight, like you said, is really individual and really dependent on what you believe to be true, and again, being true to yourself. To this day, I'm happy I did it. Sometimes, again, I'll say, Andrea, why'd you put yourself in that pain? But it also, I believed, helped in how I grew as a person, and then helped how my daughter sees things, even though, she was small. I hear from her now, like she understands or can see the relationship that her father and I have based on how we interact. And a lot of that has to do with the things that we did or didn't do in front of her. And I do believe me showing grace at that time, again, although challenging, set me up for a better situation, and then set the future of our divorce and co-parenting up better. So again, there could be some other things that I did or didn't do, but that whole idea that there is a balance. And, some things you do, you put your hands up and say, I've done all I can. And then sometimes, doing a little bit more to fight can come in handy. So, my question, Shermaine put, this is very true. We all have to walk our own journeys. No answers is one size fits all. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think that's what's really true about heartbreak. I think there's a lot of things out there, a lot of people telling you what you should do, what you shouldn't do. But the truth is, like I said, it is your own journey. But the key is, it's a journey to be taken. And not ignoring that it is a journey to be taken, and to take the steps that are true and right for you. Because the goal is, that's not a place that you want to stay. That pain, those situations, you don't want to stay there. And in all reality, those things will pass. How they pass and how we heal from those really is dependent on some of the actions that we take. So I don't know, again, if other people have questions or thoughts about that, but that was my journey. And like I said, I believe that through that journey, it made me a better person. And hopefully, to be honest, I believe it actually made my ex-husband a better person. So that is my story for tonight. I hope that gave you guys something to chew on, and something to think about during your journey. So any questions or thoughts for me tonight? Hi, Ronaldo. Hi, Jasmine. I just see you guys pop on. We were doing a quick story tonight about when to fight and not to fight for a relationship. And I don't know who's on. I guess I should have asked when I first got on. Folks that's joining, who's married, who's single, who's divorced, who's had all these different ups and downs. I remember when I first, hey, Dr. Jada, when I first got divorced, one of the first books I wrote was, or purchased was, Separated, Married, or Divorced, or something like that. And it really talked about some of those struggles we have and the ups and downs in our relationships. But I will say, as we've gone through, we will survive. And there is so much more life that's on the other side. I said that night that I had drove away from that apartment, I didn't know how I was going to make it. I didn't know, how things were going to turn out. But thank God that I was able to connect with someone who helped me through some of these struggles. And I'm hoping that I can do the same for folks that are out there. Because there is life after heartbreak. There's life after all the different trials and tribulations that we have. We just have to take it upon ourselves to want to get through them and not ignore the little twinge that we might have inside. Thank you, Yuna. I sure hope that what I'm sharing is helpful. Shanae puts, I'm divorced and have been there. The stories I could share. I know. I have a ton of stories, and I'm sure you do too, Shanae, about just the challenges that you experience, first of all, in marriage, going through a divorce and surviving divorce. So many things that we can talk about. Heck, dating after divorce was a whole nother issue that I will bring up as well throughout our weeks together. Leslie put, I agree that each of our journeys are unique and many have an opinion of what you should do. Sometimes as a woman, you feel shame when things go left and others want to say, I told you so. You know what, Leslie, that is so true. And I talked about a little bit of that a few weeks ago about the shame and the guilt we feel. And in all reality, first of all, it takes two to tango. and really that we put so much pressure on ourselves to make something work that in all reality may not have been something that was supposed to work from the beginning. And we fight again for something that God's trying to teach us another lesson. And, that's one of the things that I've been working on personally, of how to let go of things that isn't supposed to be my fight anymore. And being true to myself and doing the things that I believe as a woman, as a person, that I'm supposed to do, as I treat people a particular way. But then when you say, you know what, God, I hear you, and I'm going to let it go. So I really did have to learn that as well. Again, in both of my divorces, one of the things I had to learn too in my second divorce, because we do own a business together, is really those boundaries, that we have to, establish after divorce. You're so used to interacting with this person a particular way, and then once some of those lines are crossed and you still need to interact, what's the appropriate way to, take care of yourself, so that you are ensuring that you're not continuing getting hurt by maybe behaviors that this person's had, and really trying to really establish a new relationship with that person if they have to stay in your life. Renee puts, I love women, inspire women. Thank you. Keep it up. We're listening. Oh, thank you. I hope so. I just, one of my biggest desires, again, is I remember feeling alone and going through all of this, feeling the shame and figuring out, Andrea, how in the heck did you get divorced twice? And just really feeling worthless and alone. And I don't want anyone to feel that way. And I want them to know that if you are going through that, a woman, a man, whoever, that there are people out here who understand. There are people who have gone through that, and there's things we can do to survive, again, to get on the other side and to get past some of that pain and hurt. So thank you for that. I appreciate it. Any other thoughts? And remember, again, we're going to do this every week. So if there's things that you guys want to talk about, want to know about, you let me know, and I will put that as a topic of discussion. Again, as Shanae put, I have tons of stories of, I'll say, marriage woes and heartbreaks, breakup heartbreaks. Again, I think I discussed in the beginning some of the other challenges that I have survived in my life so far, and I'm sure many others to come, is my battle with infertility, and finally getting what I like to call my miracle baby. And also, I have, many people know, lost my mother. So just, we all have our own grief and journeys and things that we're, trying to get past, trying to let go of, so that, again, that we live the abundant life that God has promised to us and we all deserve. So that is why I am here, and hopefully to shed a little light on a Tuesday night as well. So anything else? If that is all, I will say thank you for coming on tonight, listening to me and to my story. If you have any questions, concerns, if you want to reach out, please don't hesitate to click the link above. You can schedule a consultation with me, or give me a call, or download my Healing Heartbreak workbook. But if not, you guys have a wonderful Tuesday night. I will be seeing you next week and pop it on live throughout the week. But I love you all. Hopefully you are surviving the stay-at-home order. Please be safe and mask up if you go out. And I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.